So we've been talking about light, energy, and consciousness, but this video, I wanted to go deeper. So deep to the point that once you finish watching this video, inshallah, the very first thing that you'll feel is that you're gonna want to go and share this with someone else. Like just share this knowledge to someone else. But I'm telling you, don't. Just for a bit. The second thing is that I'll give you a homework, and then once you go through this homework, you're just gonna be left thinking like, why is no one ever teaching this? Especially from the Muslims. But listen, Habibi, I do want to warn you the things that you'll be learning in this video, please listen to this with an open mind. Doesn't matter who you are. You could be someone with a lot of knowledge, someone who has no knowledge, you'll still benefit. All I ask from you is just be patient, have an open mind towards the things I'll be showing you in this video. If you want to apply it, apply it. You'll see benefit. If you don't want to apply it, it's okay. But you'll still be gaining benefit, inshallah. And I do want to say most of the stuff that I learned is going to be from this book right here. It's called Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza. So the things you'll see right now, you'll know why it's like becoming supernatural, why that's the title. Now, everything in the world, through quantum physics, we discovered that everything is made up of light, energy, and consciousness. So even though the things that you look at, right, the objects, the people, the mic, me, everything that we look at, we think is just matter. But if you go beyond matter, you'll see all of it goes down to light, energy, consciousness. So all of it is invisible frequencies that carry energy, or in simple words, you can just say all of it is just electromagnetic waves. So if you had like glasses that you wear, and then you'll be able to see electromagnetic waves, you'll see this all around you, bro. All around you, which is beautiful. So if you want to put it simply, even you are made up by organized light. And this organized light, it contains information that's constantly sending and receiving frequencies. So if you're confused on what does all of that mean, think of it like a radio or a cell phone. So the room that you're in right now, all of it, there's radio waves all around you. So you can't see these radio waves, but that doesn't mean it's not there. So if you had a radio on you right now, if you just change the station of the radio is going to be tuning to a different frequency. And then this frequency or wavelength, because they're both the same, frequency and wavelength, even though they're opposite, which I'll show you why like they're opposites. But if you tune it to like a different frequency or wavelength, it's going to give you a different song or a different commercial or a different whatever podcast. So basically what happened is that this device, it used like a transducer to convert the frequency to a sound. And this sound in your mind, you convert it to like a song or this or that. Do you know what I mean? But why am I telling you all of that? It's because I'm telling you, Habibi, that you only see 1% of reality. There's an entire world that you can't even see. And this world is all around you. It exists everywhere, but you still can't even see it. So if you look at this diagram right here, this figure, it shows you that we can only see like this much of the world. And this is what the visible light is. So like all the colors, it all comes down to here. So radio waves are right here. Gamma rays are right here. So even X-rays, like you've obviously went to a hospital, you've used an X-ray. How did those people even use an X-ray? It's because this thing is right here. So that's why they say it's like when you go through airports, like it's better to opt out from the X-ray stuff just because the energy within these things are way too high. So basically you're just going to be cooking yourself. And that's why people when they're traveling, you're getting sick not because you're going to a new location. It's because when you go through these X-ray machines, is cooking you up. So when you go there, it's basically damaging your cells, and that's why you get sick. But here's the thing, right? So that's why I said like wavelength are the same as frequencies, even though they're actually opposite, but we're saying the same word. The more left you go, the more the frequency is higher. So the energy is higher. But the more right you go, the more the energy, the frequency is lower, but the wavelength is higher. So the wavelength is just the length of the wave. That's all it is, man. So you see this wave right here? So you see how that like the length of this wave is higher than the length of this wave right here? And this is important. Listen, even if you're not understanding the things I'm saying, or you're just like, why are you giving me like a quantum physics lesson? Keep listening. You'll understand everything. So the relationship between wavelength and frequency is that, again, the higher the frequency or energy, the lower the wavelength. The higher the wavelength, the lower the frequency. So when we're saying electromagnetic fields, we're talking about this, bro. Now, how does all of that relate to you? It's because, again, the fact that you can only see 1% of reality, it shows that there is so much of the world that you don't even see, to the point that if you even go to the Joe Dispenza book, he's talking about this thing that's called a biophoton. So there's a German biophysicist by the name of Fritz Albert Popp. This physicist right here, he's studying biophotons, and what he said is that biophotons, from the word photon, it has light. And he's saying that these light particles are in the DNA of the human being. And not just the human being, every creature in the world. And he's saying that the light within this DNA, which is the biophoton, it's able to communicate with the cell of the organism, which means that these biophotons, they're able to regulate the organism because of their ability to communicate through light. And so he's saying, he's like, they were able to detect these biophotons through a camera, like a very sensitive camera, and then they noticed they're like the stronger the emission, which means like the more intense and coherent the light field of this biophoton, then the better that this biophoton is able to communicate with other cells. And if it's able to communicate with other cells easily, then the organism becomes healthy. Now, if the field of light within these biophotons, it's like is diminished, it can't communicate that well, this is when the organism becomes unhealthy. And so this is actually a crazy discovery. So here they're saying when a cell does not emit enough organized and coherent electromagnetic energy, the cell becomes unhealthy. So every single molecule within your body, the electromagnetic energy, it's what's governing the health of these molecules. Which means, again, like this guy is literally proving something that Islam has gotten right way long back then. We are quite literally beings of light. Every single one of you guys is a being of light. So you're actually emitting light. Every single cell within your body, it's emitting light. And this is exactly why the more you get stressed through using the five senses, so let's just say someone cut you off on the road, and then you're putting all your attention, all your awareness on that thing that happened that pissed you off, the more you keep identifying with the environment around you. So basically, the more you keep your attention on the outer world, the more you narrow your focus. And then when your focus is just narrowed, then any other frequency around you, technically, it doesn't even exist to you. And as a result, what's happening? You're missing out on vital, important information. Like, understand, I just told you, you can't even see the reality around you. Just like a radio wave, you are also like a radio wave. So wherever you're putting your attention, your awareness on, you're basically like a radio when it changes the tune, and then it's able to like catch a different frequency. You're also doing the same thing. So the things that you're looking at, if you're always narrowing down your focus, you're tuning into a different frequency that's super low. And so why am I saying it's going to be super low? It's because matter, this right here is matter. The less energy, the less frequency you have, the more you're putting your attention on matter. And so because your attention, all of it is just on matter, your focus is narrow. Your energy is low. Now, if you want to be affecting matter, by the way, is just your life. Like the things around you, this is all matter. But if you're always identifying with matter by having a low frequency, by having like a narrow focus, then you'll always be matter. But now, how can you affect matter? Well, in order for you to affect matter, you got to go here. So the 0-point field. And in order for you to go here, you got to increase your frequency, increase your energy, which in reality, it just means expand your awareness. Then you basically become this thing that has a high frequency. And then when you have a high frequency, now you can tune in to new light, to new information. And this is how you affect matter. This is how you influence matter. So now if you want to think of it in terms of your cells, well, again, like the biophotons, the more the light is diminished, the less healthy the cell is. Now, if these biophotons are emitting a proper amount of light, this is how you become coherent, and that's how you become healthy. So let me show you how to do that. By the way, when I'm saying you're putting all your awareness on the outer environment, that's not a bad thing. So Joe Dispenza here says it's like if you're, for example, tying your shoes, you're going to need a narrow focus when you're tying your shoes, and that's fine. So you're putting all your attention and energy on the outer environment, and that's fine. I'm not saying stop doing that, obviously. In order for you to live through this, you got to be able to know how to go to matter and then how to get out of matter and go to pure energy. So the issue is that when people it's like they don't know how to take away their attention from the environment, that's when it becomes an issue. Because the more you put your attention on the environment or matter or dunya, the more you're going to start stressing, the more you're going to start falling into depression, the more you start getting all these diseases. Why? Because again, you're becoming a materialist. You're putting your focus on something narrow. So now look at this diagram right here, or this figure. So usually when you're putting your attention, all of it, on like the outer environment, you're basically becoming in beta mode. And I already explained to you guys all these like brainwaves that we go through. When you're in beta mode, you're living from the conscious mind, the analytical mind. And so again, you only see a small amount of the reality, which is the world. And the lower down you go, the more you go to delta, which means that the more you've slowed down your brainwaves, and now this is where you access the subconscious mind. So if you ever want to change yourself, you have to know how to go from beta to alpha, to theta, and then to delta. And in order for you to go from beta to alpha, this is where you have to put your attention on not the object, but the space around the object. And this right here, this is going to require some training. Even though what's so funny is that you already know how to do it because you've been doing it all along. Once you go through some training to know how to like go from beta to alpha and then expand your focus and then just live in a more coherent state, when you know how to transition from here to here, you're just gonna be like, this is so funny, bro. Like, I've been doing this my whole life. It's just I haven't been really aware of this whole thing. So for example, if I'm in beta mode right now and then I have all my attention on this pen, so basically it's like if I'm writing, I'm putting all my attention on the things that I'm writing. And you'll notice it's like when I do that, even the things that I'll be writing, it's not even that nice, it's not even that spontaneous. It just feels like it's just bland, no salt and pepper. But now when I'm writing, and then I'm writing from a state where I'm in alpha, so I'm relaxed, I'm like, I feel expanded. The things I'll be writing is gonna look so nice. It's gonna feel so nice. Even when you hear me say the things that I write, you're just gonna be like, wow, this came from like a deeper place from this person. And it's because when I'm doing that, I'm not thinking. This is the flow state. So when you're not thinking, you'll be able to access a deeper being of you. So it's so funny. It's like the pathway for you to do this is that you gotta expand. And how do you expand? It's just when you surrender, bro. Just surrender. Stop thinking anything. Any thoughts that you have in your mind, first of all, stop it. Stop the thoughts, and then just surrender. Understand that, like, put your awareness on the body that you have right now. Feel that your butt is on the chair. Feel that there is like the breath. Your breath is constantly inhaling and exhaling. There's just like things around you. The more you put your attention, you expand it. You don't put it like you don't focus on something narrow, you just expand it. The more you'll go from beta to alpha. And so why am I telling you all of this right now again? It's because this right here. So you have energy sensors within you. I'm telling you all of this because I'm telling you again, bro, the things you will be learning in this video is insane. The very first thing I want you to get rid of your mind is that when you're seeing these things, oh, Muhammad is going to be talking to us about chakras. The very first thing is that get this idea out of your mind that this is like a Hindu thing. This is not a Hindu thing. That's basically saying it's like, you know how Islam talks a lot about the heart? That's basically saying it's like, oh, the heart it's only like an Islamic thing. It's not only an Islamic thing. So these things within you, like the chakras or the energy centers or just those centers that you have within you, this is something that you have within you. It's not limited to a religion. Just because Hindus talk a lot about these things does not mean that these things are not there. And the fact that you're going to be learning about these things, you'll learn that in many of the centers that you have within your body, some of you guys have disease within these things. Some of you guys are stuck because something happened in your past, and then you're stuck because your energy center is not activated, it's not living coherently, and that's why you're stuck in the past. Some of you guys can't even live life from a state of love because there's something blocking those energy centers within you. And now once you activate these energy centers and then you heal them, this is when you'll notice that not only like the disease that you have within any of these things physically is going to start to go away, but even you'll be able to like to start living emotionally in a more coherent state. And you'll notice it's like now you'll start living through the world with your full being. You won't be like you're separate or you're broken. Most people are just living from here to here. They're just living in their head. But then when you access the entire part of you that Allah has given you, Allah has given you all these centers. And Allah actually, you look at a lot of the hadith and the ayat, most of it says you got to be protecting all these things. But most of us are not protecting these things anymore. Like Islam didn't come and then say, you have a chakra here called this and you have a chakra here called this. Islam talked about it in the whole, like in the complete sense. So let's just talk about science, right? Every single energy center within your body, it's actually connected to a gland. So like the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, the thyroid gland, the adrenal, the sexual gland, all of it is just glands. So now what's so funny is that when you're sitting down and then you just imagine like some, I don't know, sexual fantasies, right? You'll notice that like the sexual gland is going to start becoming activated to the point that this gland is going to start sending out energy to everywhere else in your body to activate your body, to basically prepare your body for the sexual act. And then, for example, your stomach, right? As soon as you're hungry, what happens to you? You start salivating. You start thinking more of the food, and you start, even like your belly starts expanding, and you start almost like preparing the body for the food. Now, if someone pisses you off, or not even piss you off, like if your brother ate your burger, and now you're just thinking, how are you gonna like go up to your brother and be like, hey little boy, why did you eat my burger? Before you even go up to them, you're gonna start like thinking, what are you gonna be saying? And then you literally feel emotionally like you're in an argument with them, even though on the outside you're just sitting down. But on the inside, your body's like going through so many chemical changes to prepare you for the arguments. So these things, when you activate them, you've been activating these things all along. But then when you activate them, you'll notice like there is some chemical changes happening within your body. You're physically changing. Even though on the outside nothing is happening, just the fact that you're thinking with one of these minds right here, you're having like a whole different experience. So all these chakras that you have within you, chakras, whatever you want to call them, bro, all these energy centers, these glands, they're all different types of minds. So you don't only have one mind, you actually have 7 minds. Now, the beautiful thing that Joe Dispenza is saying right here, he's saying that if you slow down your brainwave in the meditation, and then you put all your attention on these energy centers, on the space around these energy centers, which means that you're opening your focus once again, you'll notice that every one of these centers, when you place your attention on them, is going to be more orderly, more coherent, and as a result, you activate these organs, you activate some weird things, like things that are going to be happening within your body, where you'll basically have an entire, almost like literally a new body. And all that it takes is that the same way you've been activating these all along, now I'll show you a method where you activate them in a way where it'll make you healthier. It'll make you more confident. It'll just make you like just more living in the world more harmoniously. And bro, this guy's saying like, I believe him, bro. I don't know if you believe him. He showed a lot of proof that when you go through these things, this is the thing. He says that bladder infections, prostate problems, Crohn's disease, food allergies, ovarian tumors, acid reflux, heart, all these diseases, you'll be able to fix them. Why? Because when you go through this whole meditation that I'll show you, you're literally bringing the light of Allah on all these energy centers. And as a result, if the light of Allah is shining on these energy centers, it's going to be healed. There's no way that it's not going to be healed. And I want you to go through this, bro. This is a crazy experience that you're going to go through. So think of this, right? The very first energy center, which is the lower one, so this is basically the sexual one. You already know there is a whole gland, the prostate gland, or if you're a woman, the other gland. So this is not just something that's fake or spiritual, it's also scientific and physical. So this is the gland that produces estrogen or progesterone in women and testosterone in men. And this gland is so powerful. This is why they say you got to go through semen retention, because when you go through semen retention, this gland is going to start becoming more powerful. And then the more powerful it becomes, the more creative energy you're going to have. Understand that this gland is the gland that creates life. Like, you understand, like, this is a baby is happening here. So if babies, like, life is happening here, if you go through semen retention, you'll be able to create life all around you. And this is why it's so powerful. The second energy center, which is the one that's just like below your navel, and this right here is the guts. So the colon, the pancreas, the lower back, and this has to do everything physically with digestion, elimination, just food, basically digestion. But on a spiritual level, this is where if you're able to like activate this gland right here, you become more confident. Why? Because you feel safe in the environment that you're in. And this is why I was saying the person who has strong energy within this gut level, like this gut consciousness, this gut energy center, they're able to go and flow through the world like they're just like a confident man. And it's so funny, there was a whole other video that I showed you that if you just put your attention on the gut, like you'll just change. Now the third energy center is, again, it's also in the gut, and this is also linked to self-esteem, power, intention. So the first 3 energy centers, these are all about survival. But then when you get through the heart, when you get to the energy center of the heart, which is the 4th one, this is where you'll see it's about gratitude, compassion, thankfulness, all that nice things like selflessness. And it's so funny because even if you look at it physically, the thymus gland, or the gland that's surrounded with the heart and the lungs, this is the gland that's known as the fountain of youth. So growth hormone and oxytocin, these are within this center. And this is why people that inject growth hormone, the ones that want to grow, or if you reach like a certain number of age, you need like you just start injecting yourself with growth hormone. The 5th one is the thyroid one. So this is where you talk about thyroxine, T3, T4. And this center, spiritually, is linked with being able to express yourself. Why? Because it's right here. And then the 6th energy center and the 7th one is just the pineal gland or the pituitary gland. So the pineal gland is what people call it's the first eye. It's the eye that you can have basira with. The one that if you activate it, you'll be able to see things that most people can't see. And that's why even Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was like be careful from the vision of the believer, because he can see from a place that most people can't see. And it's because the believer has the pineal gland activated. And then the last one, which is the seventh energy center, this is the pituitary gland. And then when you activate the pituitary gland, this is when you can become in harmony with all things. But then there's the eighth energy center, which is the one that's not within your body, but it's the one just like almost like the crown. And by the way, understand that like even the nafs is not something that's just like within you. The nafs is all around you. So if you had glasses where you can see invisible things, you'll see that every human is walking around with something that's like invisible. All of it is just your electromagnetic field. Again, bro, we only see 1% of the whole world. So now look at this. Look at this beautiful figure right here. So remember how I showed you the figure about the electromagnetic waves, which is this one right here? So you know how it's like there's wavelength and frequency, and here the frequency is low and the wavelength is high. And then basically here, the less the frequency is, the lower the energy, the more you become matter, and the higher the energy, the more you access the 0 point field. The same thing is here. The same exact thing is here. So the more you're aware, or the more you activate, or the more you use up this sensor right here, which is the sexual sensor, the more you use this up, the more physical you become, the more matter you become. And this is why it's so crazy. This is why they say, like, don't always be busting, like try to go through semen retention, because the more you attain your semen, the less physical you become and the more energy you become. This is where creative power comes from. It's because at this point you're not constrained by the physicality of your body. And even, for example, I used to always show you the emotional chart. The lowest emotion is the emotion of like lust or anger or shame. You feel all these things right here because all of these things are physical. The more you're feeling these emotions, the more physical you become. So now you understand why I'm showing you all of that stuff, because all of it is happening within your body. So now the more up you go, the more you access emotions like gratitude or love or bliss. And the higher up you go, the less physical you become and the more energy you become. So now the higher up you go, this is where you have more creative power. You have more like manifestation power. This is why you'll notice that the more dua you do, and then you're in this state, your du'as never get accepted. Why? Because you're making a dua from a very physical state. But now the higher up you go, higher energy you have, the more you make dua, the more it's like Allah literally says kun fayakun, which is insane. So when you have energy that's stuck within the lower part of yourself, again, this is why you feel impatient, you feel like you have to control things, you feel guilt, you feel shame, you feel unworthy, or you feel like a victim. And why? It's because all the energy is stuck here. But you need to learn how to make the energy go from here to here to here to here, all in a straight path. And you know what's so funny? The more I started reading more about this, the more I'm like, bro, this is the straight path. What the heck? This is the straight path. And in order for you to actually go up the straight path, you have to be guided. You have to have more light, because guidance is light. And so the more light you become, the more you're guided. And this is why the Quran is unlimited, bro. And there's a saying, as within, so without, or as above, so below. The entire world is connected. You are the microcosm of the macrocosm. You look at the entire world, all of it is a reflection of you. Allah didn't create everything just by accident or with no purpose. All of it is a reflection of you. So if you're even, I don't know how to say this, bro, but just this is it's just my own reflection. The more I started learning more about this, the more I'm like, when someone is guided, they have more light within them. This is why I was even saying my whole video about like when you learn how to pray in the standing position, you're supposed to be guided. And how are you supposed to be guided? By reciting the Quran. And the Quran increases your light, it increases your frequency. So the more you increase your frequency, the higher up you go in a straight path. Al-Sirat al-Mustaqim, in a straight path. And then the higher up you go, the more you'll be living in harmony with the whole world. The more you'll feel like you're bringing heaven here on earth, because you're coming to the world from a state of love. And so if you're stuck in the three centers, this is where even like the light field, the electromagnetic field around you is going to be diminished. But then when you learn how to act, like go from here to here to here to here to here, all the way up here, this is how, even like if you had glasses, you'll see that this light field, this electromagnetic field is high. But now what's this electromagnetic field or this light field? This is your soul, Habibi. This literally here is the soul. This is why, man, the more you watch porn, the more you backbite, the more you do zina, the more the more you do sins, like all these Islamic sins that tell you don't do, the more you do these, the more you're stuck here, right here. And as a result, you have a diminished light field. And this is how you fall off the straight path. The more you restrain yourself, you go through the teachings that Muhammad ﷺ brought you from Allah, you go through these teachings, the more that you literally walk the straight path. All this is all within your body, bro. And this is insane. All of it is just within you. And so when you're going through the straight path like this, even your soul, like the nafs, is going to be nafs al-mutma'inna, the content self. And if you die in the state, you'll notice even the death is going to be easy. Like you're going back to Allah, like you're relaxed, like you're content. But if you're here, this is why there's even hadith that says that the person who is always living in sin, when the moment of death comes, they don't even want to leave. Why? Because their light is just diminished. Like you're physical. The more physical you are, the more you want to remain in physicality. But now the more you're just light, you have like a good light field, the more you're just content with everything. Even the death is going to become easier, which is insane, bro. Like this right here is insane. And by the way, relating back all of this to health, to your own body, well, again, so this is you, right? The body. All of it is just made from atoms. And again, these atoms, the biophotons, this light, all of it is within you, bro. You're a being of light. So now understand, when you get in harmony with the whole world, when you walk the straight path, right? When you walk the straight path, when Allah guides you through the straight path, and you're living in the world from a state of bliss, love, gratitude, enlightenment, you'll notice that your entire being is going to be healed. And by the way, how do you walk the straight path? How do you go through the straight path? You read the Quran, man. When you read the Quran, you know why you get shivers? You get shivers because you're moving, bro. Your heart is becoming activated because you're moving. And this is insane. So again, the more you increase your energy, the more you activate all these glands, all these sensors right here. And this is how you activate the soul. That's how you activate this light field. But now how do you do it? So the method that Joe Dispenza was talking about is a beautiful method. And I was doing more research about this, about like just this whole method, and I was just like, dang, this is insane, bro. So you know how there is an ayah in the Quran that says, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. By the way, bro, let me show you something. So I don't have the Arabic keyboard, but you know, like shukr. What does shukr mean? Well, shukr means gratitude, right? But now what does shakar mean? Shakar has two meanings. The first meaning is sugar, literally sugar, or the past tense of being grateful. Like this guy, shakara, like Muhammad shakara. So Muhammad was thankful, but it also means sugar, sweet. This is why when you experience, like, by the way, like you find the root word of a word, you'll be able to find different meanings within this word. So when you're grateful, it's a sweet feeling. But then also, what's another word that's connected to the word shukr? Shakira. Shakira. What does shakira mean? Chakra, bro. When I learned this, I'm like, this is insane. In Arabic, chakra, it means shakira. Chakra. Shakira. Like the shakirat. Al-shakirat, which means the chakras. Now, the whole meditation that I want to show you is that when you're sitting, like you sit down, right? You sit down and then you place all your energy on, for example, the first energy center, which is the sexual energy center. What you do, from the ayah that says, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, when you become grateful, so put all your attention on the field, on the space around this gland, on the space around this energy field, and induce gratitude into it. Induce gratitude into it. So then when you put your attention, you're closing your eyes, and you're putting your attention on the space around the gland, around the energy field, and then you induce gratitude into it. When you induce gratitude into it, you're increasing the energy. Again, this is a lot from the Quran. When you have gratitude, you get increase. Increase in what? This is the beauty. The Quran didn't specify increase in what. It just shows you this is Allah, an increase of everything. So then when you, again, I'm going to repeat myself because you have to understand this. You put your attention, you induce gratitude into it, so you feel gratitude, and then you'll feel it getting activated. So once it gets activated, you move on. You move to the second energy center, which is the gut. So induce gratitude into it. The very first thing is have your awareness on the space around the gland. So this is why I was doing this meditation here before. I was telling you guys, I'm like, the more you do this meditation, the more confident you'll be, the more you'll just be in harmony with the world, because you're living. This is the center that you go out into the world with. So put all your attention here on the space around this gland right here. And then when you do that, and then you induce gratitude into it, you move on. So go to the heart. Put all your attention on the heart, and then induce gratitude into it. So you're basically moving. And then again, keep moving. Go here, and then go here, and then go here. Induce gratitude into it. That's all you're doing. Then the more you do this, when you're doing this, by the way, you're gonna feel different, man. You're gonna feel like, wait a minute, is this really happening to me? You'll start to get shivers. You'll start to feel so different. What this is gonna do also is that the science behind this is long, bro, and I don't want to bore you with the whole science, but every cell within your body is going to start working more harmoniously. And then you'll notice that even like if you have diseases within these glands, like the thyroid gland, or even like the sexual gland, if you have, or the prostate, if you have diseases within these glands, you'll notice that slowly it's going to be healed, which is insane. Now, when you're done, by the way, when you're done through this, you'll feel different, bro. I don't know how to explain it. You'll just feel so different. Go on the bed and just relax for a bit. Just relax. Understand that you've just done something that's crazy. You've added the light of Allah on all these things. Now just relax and let Allah do the work. Allah's like, you just have to let Allah do the work. That's all it is. Because like we plant the seed, but Allah's the one that's growing the tree. So we're planting the emotion of gratitude within these things, and then we go and we lie down and we're letting Allah do everything else. That's all it is. This, Habibi, this was a crazy thing I learned. And you'll only have to experience this when you do it. Like me talking to you about this, you won't be able to experience it. But then when you actually go through this whole thing and then you do it, you'll just be like, what the heck? Like, you just activated a whole new world within you. Again, you only see, I'm looking at the time, this is 50 minutes almost. You only see 1% of the world. You don't see a lot of it, which means there are so many things that are hidden from you. And just like a radio wave, how it can tune into different frequencies, you can also tune into different frequencies through your awareness. It's just the awareness. It's the awareness, man. And so look at this. Joe Dispenza is saying that you have to get into your subconscious mind because that's where the operating system is. That's where the autonomic nervous system is functioning, and then it's controlling all these centers. So if you want to think of it even scientifically, this is what's working. This is what's happening. When you're going from beta to alpha, that's where you're going from the conscious mind, and then you start accessing the subconscious mind. But how do you do this? Is just through awareness. When you put your awareness on the space around the thing. So like this is my finger, right? But put your awareness on the space around the finger, around it. You might think this whole thing doesn't work. You might think that. Don't worry what you think, bro. Forget all you think. Literally forget all of what you're thinking. So your job in this whole, he's calling it the blessing of the energy centers meditation. Your job is to slow down your brainwave and then add the gratitude emotion into these different centers. But I'm really hoping this was helpful. For those of you that are saying you're bringing things that are other than Islam, understand that science is catching up to Islam. When you look at the entire Quran, you'll see that it's actually talking about different nafs. So you have nafs al-lawama, nafs al-mutma'inna, and nafs al-ammara. You have all these different nafs. And all these different nufus, are within you too. So you have to learn how to deal with these things. And then when you combine that with the law that says, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, you'll know it's like, so gratitude is like the signature for increase. The more you induce gratitude, the more you increase. So increase in what? Increase in frequency. So then when you or energy. So then in order for you to increase the energy more and more, you got to go through gratitude. Habibi, the things I showed you in this video, high level stuff, very high level stuff. And in the description right now, there is a whole link of the course, Effortless Rizq, when you go through that course, if you thought this was high level, that course is even more high level. So if you're thinking that this stuff right here is like insane, the stuff within that course is even more insane, man. And I pray that you'll find the benefit within that. But I'm hoping, inshallah, that a lot of you guys are gonna go through this simple act, this simple meditation, which shows you, by the way, it's like the power is all within, man. The power is all here. Like the power that Allah has put in the human being, it's unlimited. It's insane. And now we're getting to discover that. And by the way, there's more and more stuff that we're still getting to discover. So I'm hoping this was helpful. And if it is, just let me know.